All right, next game up, we have Chicago Aftershock, and they are taking on Omaha Vicious. And I'm up here with Justin Rabikoff from Boston Red Legion. How you doing, man?
How you guys doing? Pretty good.
So, what do you think about this matchup coming up?
Well, pretty much Impact. Well, all the Aftershock guys were Impact. Now they're all on Impact now. So I mean, it's a brand new team. It seems like, but they look pretty good, and they're all young and they're all hungry. But it's the same with Vicious. They're all young and hungry too. It's going to be a good matchup, and Vicious looks like they're playing really well, especially against the game against Infamous. That was a real nice game.
All right, let's see how this first breakout goes. And you're looking at Vicious on your screen. That was Brian Bortle trying to get out on the snake side of the field, and he actually paused a little bit.
He does make it there clean, though.
Looks like 5 alive for Aftershock as they advance up the Dorito side of the field, and both teams doubling up that back center. It seems like a lot of teams are doing that.
A lot of teams are doing that. You can live back there with that big bunker, but Vicious down 1, 5 on 4. Nobody on that Dorito side over there.
Yeah, and there goes Chicago Aftershock trying to press up that Dorito side of the field. They're not looking at any Vicious players on that side, so.
Yeah, they got one guy over there, but they're not doing too much. The Snake Eye really needs to get in here.
Oh, Nick Sloviak trying to do damage control over here on the Snake side of the field. Oh, and he gets shot too. Slow to come off. Yeah, so look at this. So Aftershock dominant over on the Dorito. Oh, no, he gets shot as well. So Aftershock having a rough go of it right now.
Totally turned that around. They had the advantage on the break, and now it's a 4-on-2 in favor of Vicious.
And here comes Vicious.
There it is.
Coming up in the center and on the snake, and then the last, there's still one Aftershock player. Last player left alive, back corner on the Dorito side of the field, and here comes Vicious streaking towards him. There goes Vicious getting on the board right away. You know, and I talked to Nick Sloviak from Aftershock, and they had played you guys in the finals for the World Cup and just got destroyed by you guys. Talk to me about that game.
I mean.
And they played great to get there, but.
Yeah, they did. Honestly, right before the game, everyone thought it was going to be a good match. You know, you never want to see a World Cup Finals go 7-0. I mean, when you see that, but our team, honestly, we were playing perfect paintball. In that event, I don't think anybody could have beat us. You could have put any team together, but I think in that event, we were unstoppable. We were playing just on fire. We were lights out that event.
No, you guys were unstoppable, and it was cool to see a team play as well as you did. I would have, obviously, as a fan, would have rather have watched a battle happen.
Of course, everyone does, and I wish it would have gone that way too. It's always more fun playing a grinded out game all the way to the end. You know, 6-6, and then it goes into overtime.
Yep.
Those are breathtaking games. You always want to see those, but I mean, it actually feels good to beat a team 7-0 in the finals. You can just go out there and say, you know, nobody's beating us out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I remember when we beat Aftershock down super hard to win the World Cup, similar feeling, you know, it just wasn't even close. Now, I'm sure everyone watching probably would have liked to see some long, drawn-out battle, but
of course.
It sure felt great. So how do you guys feel about your chances this year?
Well, we started out real slow this morning. The tournament field is not playing like it did in practice. We were playing a little faster in practice, but these games are being drawn out. They're all going to 20 minutes. They're all going to time. It's over. I've seen so many overtime games.
Yeah.
You know, they're all drawn out, and people are just sitting in the back, and I don't think we were prepared for that against the game against Ironman, and it kind of turned against us. But, you know, we fixed it, you know, against Dynasty, and, you know, we came out top 7-3.
Yeah, those were both really good games to watch. All right, let's see this breakout right here. Vicious up 1-0 against Aftershock. Let's see if they have a better breakout. And you see now that's Aftershock on the breakout.
Both making it to that snake can.
Substantially better breakout for Aftershock. Well, they didn't really get, oh no, and they lose that back corner. Seeing a lot of guys dying out of the bunkers today, man. A lot of guys dying out of the bunkers.
This field, like I said, it's playing like a 7-man field. Like, people are getting shot out of their bunkers. It's not like, you know, a lot of people aren't getting shot out on the break too much. It's people just playing stupid and getting shot out of their bunkers.
Yeah, look at Sam Monville making moves over here on the snake side, chopping up a few bodies cross field. And now Vicious trying to getting into snake to Drew Templeton. And
I love seeing these little battles here in the snake.
This should be a pretty interesting battle on the snake side. top right-hand portion of your screen, and you're looking at right there.
Knows he's in there.
Yeah, Drew Templeton. I don't think he does. He should have heard his gun shoot right there.
Yeah, exactly. He's so focused on that Dorito over
there.
there.
Yeah, he's totally tunnel vision on that Dorito. Also, he should hear his coach. They're still coaching a lot on the side. Now, Templeton cutting on the inside. Nice job by Templeton. Really good move to take down Sam Monville.
Yeah, that was a really great move.
And now Nick Sloviak is going to come and punish him and immediately get back in the bunker. Nice job by, oh, then Sloviak gets eaten up.
And now it's a 2-on-2.
So Brock coming down here for Vicious on the Snake side. This is a seesaw battle at this point.
He gets shot.
Look at this. This is a straight up seesaw battle, back and forth, death for death.
We got a 2-on-1 here. Lone Vicious guy in the Dorito 1. See what he can do with it.
I mean, at this point, yeah, here we go. Big bite over here on the Snake side for Aftershock. It's Rittinghouse.
No.
And I don't think he got a shot in on him, but he's going to go trade out. Yeah, so Brandon Rittenhouse able to get things done finally for Aftershock over here on the Snake side, but that was a fun point to watch.
Yeah, it was. Definitely, like you said, it was a seesaw battle going back and forth like that, but Drew made a really good, a really great run, you know, bunking out Sam Monville.
Do you think that going into that first game you guys played that might have come out a little flat knowing you had won 12 matches in a row?
Honestly, to be honest, I didn't even know that it was 12 matches in a row. I don't think we think too much about that stuff. Maybe a little bit. We're a little flat. I mean, it's hard to tell. We got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We had to be out here. We got to the field at 6:30. None of us got a good breakfast. I mean, it's tough going out there, especially when you're tired. You don't warm up the same. You're not prepared the same. You're not mentally prepared the same. I know for myself, I was definitely a little tired waking up. And I think that might have affected us a little bit. But at the same time, you know, they're waking up early. They're doing all the same thing. They probably didn't get a good breakfast. So you can't blame it too much on that. But we might have come out a little too flat. And
I mean, it's tough to tell with you guys, and because you're not an emotional team, you guys aren't yelling at each other.
Yeah,
you're not getting up in a huddle. So you can't really see it on that side, but you always can see it when you guys play. And I think that it was just a little. I was just seeing guys out there kind of a little slow to the punch, not really necessarily making the moves that I would normally expect you guys to be making. And I don't know if that was necessarily what you were saying or the fact you haven't been able to play the field a lot.
I think what it is most is they took the coaching off the Dorito side. So you really have to, especially on these fields, you really have to rely on your teammates to talk to you and tell you know what's going on the field, because you don't have that coach anymore. So people are kind of playing, especially our team, are playing a little more hesitant, because I think for our team we have all those coaches that help us out on the Dorito side, or did the past year, that it's kind of different. We don't have those people screaming over there anymore, so people aren't used to that style of play.
I agree. It's just that I look at your team, and it's got about 5 seconds to go before this break, but I see a lot of really good paintball players. You're not robots like everyone thinks.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the beginning, years ago they were, but not anymore. All right, so here we go on the breakout. Both teams get a pretty conservative yet solid breakout. Oh, except that Vicious loses their back player on the Dorito side of the field.
And they're stacking 2 in that back center every single game. Every team is doing it.
It's like the teams that, they're begging for kills off the break now. You know,
exactly.
And there's not a lot of ways to do it on this field. Look, Chris Lasoya getting a spin for
Aftershock. He's out there
still
playing, still spinning.
Up in that center temple.
And it
see
looks
if
like
his knees rehab.
It looks like a 5-on-3 Aftershock in favor.
Monville into the Snake again. Monville all the way past the 50-yard line.
It looks like he got shot, yeah.
Yeah, Monville's struggling over here right now.
Taking two big bites.
Too big, yeah, his bites are too big, man. He needs to slow it down a little bit. I mean, I take what they give you, but go tight. You know, go low.
If they have that back center, it's real tough playing that Snake 50 and playing their Snake, because they can just shoot down on top of you, and you can't really do anything going into that Snake. You're kind of just laying down.
It's a pretty tough Snake to play.
It is, especially with all those bunkers there, all the tall bunkers. You can really bounce everything off in there, and you can really, sketch that guy out. He can't do too much. He just got to lay down and just stay alive.
Yeah, so Brian Bortle getting shot out of his bunker out of that little A. Man, that little A has just been a death trap today for a lot of players.
Oh, Looks like Chris.
And here comes Chris Lasoya. He's going to try to put Hurton on this. Doesn't need to do it. He's going to grab the flag, polish off the last guy. Yeah, nice job by Chris Lasoya. And also AJ Lawhead over here for Aftershock. So Aftershock is going to go up 2-1 in a very close match so far. Tons of time left on the clock. 14-20.
Yeah, these games so far are for Aftershock and Vicious haven't been drawn out too much. It seems like, and people are stacking these guys in the back center, but a lot of teams aren't even shooting people on the break going out here. And Aftershock 3 points in a row Vicious has run out to this can on the Snake side 3 points in a row, and Aftershock just hasn't been able to,
no
take him out.
team really has been consistently shooting guys off the break. I mean, you guys struggle with it. You did it Dynasty pretty well.
Against Dynasty,
Against Dynasty, you guys figured it out. Morning, you guys struggled shooting guys off the break, but every team's been struggling to shoot guys off the break.
Well, I think in the morning too, it was a little cold, and the paint that we were shooting was brittle, and a lot of us were breaking in the guns, and I mean that just doesn't help, especially when you're trying to shoot people on the break.
No, then that explains a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's not like there was sun out, so you could put some bags out in the sun and get warm them up real quick.
It was real cloudy.
That fine science of, do we chill the paint?
Yeah.
Do we leave the paint out?
Exactly.
Do I open? Do I put a little water in it? Like, there's that fine line of what to do. It's like, It's literally like alchemy, trying to get your paint perfect.
Exactly.
So who are you taking in this game?
I'm gonna go with Aftershock this game, even though Monville has been struggling a little bit over here. I think he might pick it up, and
he's a good player.
He is a good player, but I'm gonna take Aftershock for sure. I think Vicious just needs a little more experience. They're definitely coming up. They're getting games very close against these good teams, bringing them to overtime and almost winning, but they haven't been able to do it yet.
And that's such a hard thing because, and we talk about it a lot, but there is no way to teach that experience.
Exactly.
It's just, I mean, you had to go through it for years too, until something just eventually kind of clicks on the experience side of things.
And with that team, they don't really have any experienced players on that team. They're all young, they're all new. So it's hard to really teach them experience if they haven't gotten it yet.
And they tried that last year by bringing some seasoned pros in.
Yep.
Billy Bernacci and Pat Robertson, they just didn't click, didn't work out, which logically was a good move for them. But so here we go. Now this point with the score being 2-1, Vicious making moves on that Dorito side of the field, and
looks like Drew Templeton over there.
Oh, and it just pretty much a barren wasteland on the Snake side of the field for both teams.
Haven't seen much going on.
Players continue to die out. Look at that, Brock getting a major penalty for Vicious, which is really going to put him in the hole here, as Brock is going to have to do that 2 minutes. So let's see if Aftershock can take advantage of this. Nick Sloviak on the Snake side of the field.
And they had, and Vicious had a 5-on-3 advantage there. And you get a major in a game like that, and a 5-on-3 advantage, you really put your team out of the game.
Yeah.
And
that's when that would always frustrate me. And I always go back in the huddle and be like, really, man?
Yeah.
Really.
And when you get penalties, it really frustrates your team. Methodically, you're kind of like drained.
Yes.
When you get penalties, especially you get penalties over and over and over again. Some of these teams are getting those penalties, and it's hard to come back from that.
And Infamous ended up pulling out that win, but oh my God, they were just riding that aggressive edge the whole game.
Infamous is such a good team. They're their own worst enemy.
I was going to say, they would try to make it as hard as possible on themselves.
It's a fight against themselves when they play.
You're
when
right.
They go out there
it
and play.
Very much fighting. And you think that they would be starting to learn the lesson by now.
Exactly.
Because that's what plagued them at World Cup. It's already starting to plague them again in 2011. They know that, too. But it's part. Some teams are just going to get more penalties than other teams. It's just the way it is. So minute and 43 seconds left on that major penalty. 13:22 left on the clock here to play in this match, and the score is 3-1. Vicious is going to need to figure out something here. What would you say to if you were Paulie, your Vicious's coach? What do you say to him?
I really think that they need to take ground on this Snake side. But it seems like that Dorito side is playing a lot faster than this Snake side over here, because there's so many people that can shoot this Snake side. You have that little laydown over here, this little laydown A. You have the back center, and you have this tower, and you have people that can shoot cross field from that little cake in the center.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that you can do to prevent people from getting in this Snake. So it's really hard to take ground. But if you take that ground and you make it there, you know, it's a high risk, high reward thing. And if you make it out there, then more than likely you're going to be winning these games.
How do you feel about the snake side? You like it?
I actually do like the snake side. I like it a lot. There's a lot you can do in the snake side. You can back up. You can go to the end of it. You can play snake 1. You can get into the snake 50. And there's a lot you can do, and it's really my style of play.
Well, a little bit of chaos here. And this is going to be hilarious.
No, they stopped the clock.
Okay, well, that's actually nice and smart of them to do. So, after a little switcheroo,
if they would have played that point, that would have been awesome.
How hilarious that would have been. That would have been great.
Yeah.
For us, not for them.
Yeah.
Entertainment purposes only.
See everybody just
turn around and just start blazing each other.
It would have been a 1-on-1 right on the break.
Yeah, well, exactly. All right, now we got a legit breakout. 3 guns in the center up for Aftershock as Crystal Soya advances to the stand-up temple and gets bounced in his head.
Oh, wow.
Vicious having to play with 4 players. Minute and 26 seconds left on that major penalty.
Yeah, if they can grind this penalty out, it'll really help them, especially if they can win this point. But it looks like a 5-on-3.
Nick Sloviak struggling this point. Getting shot. He just went in really high. I don't know why he went in so high. Yeah, it's kind of a mental lapse.
You really have to get in there, especially against that back center. It's so, especially against a guy that's so tall that he can just shoot down on that snake. You really have to just get in there.
And Vicious just losing bodies. So
it's a 4-on-2 here.
Yeah,
Aftershock really needs to capitalize.
And they need to also get in position. Well, they have 50 seconds before the guy comes out of the box. So, but that's something you always have to keep in your mind.
Yeah, especially with that penalty, they really need to, you know, come against these guys. With a 4-on-2, they're just sitting there. They have guys sitting in the back center. And this guy's sitting here in the little Dorito. He needs to get in that snake.
And now he's up on his feet. And he's going to cut on the inside.
Makes the move.
And the time just clicking off that penalty. 22 seconds left to go before Vicious gets one of their players out of the box.
Oh, and Drew Templeton gets shot, and now it's a 4-on-1.
So they need to run the flag in now so they can preserve it, the power play. Crystal Soya gets shot in the face.
Oh,
so he can't run it in. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? There he goes. He's going to have to gun up. That guy's going to come out of the box and blaze that guy. Migalski finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Composure, man.
Yeah,
you got to have your composure. What's going on out there?
You got to know the time on the penalty box, and especially with these games going to time.
Absolutely.
You have to be aware of the clock.
It's like a mental checklist.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, okay, well, I don't know about you, but when I was playing, I would. You want to pride yourself on your mental composure.
Yeah.
You don't want to, when things get crazy, fail, though it happens. But, you know, so I'd look up on there and be like, okay, minute left on the penalty. So I'm just, as soon as you hear the horn, I'm keeping a mental clock of how long I think a minute has gone by.
And just talk to your buddy. Like, even if you don't see it, be like, hey, you know, what's on the penalty or what's on the clock? And I'm sure he'll tell you. And then you just go.
If you can't see it, yeah, exactly.
If you can't see it, find that out.
That's kind of been one of the cool things I've seen you develop over the years, because you used to be a brainless robot when you played paintball.
No, yeah, I did.
When you were a kid, but but then you really started to kind of, I would say, sense the variables.
Yes.
And I think that's probably your biggest, the best thing that you have. Actually, we got a replay. All right, let's check it out. All right, so you're looking at the action of that snake right there, and see he's going to come over the top and come around, and then you can see Vicious trying to get shots down that line, ends up getting they trade out.
They trade out.
So, and that's basically, those are the snake battles that are happening.
Yep.
And then you see Chris limping off the field, and Mikalski finally able to figure it out and try to run it in. But then he's like, oh my God, there's only a second left.
Finally, someone told him either he figured it out or someone was screaming to him.
Probably somebody was screaming at him, because you notice his body language, he stopped suddenly and gunned up, which means probably somebody he heard and reacted to that sound, like, oh my God, there's only a second left in the penalty. But we've seen that a lot of times too, where somebody will just have just a mental fail and get torched down as somebody comes out. All right, let's see the breakout.
Vicious goes hard on the snake side. And it goes well for them.
Yeah, not good things happening for the Aftershock in the back center there. I don't know. Did they try to triple that up? I was looking at Vicious off the break.
No, they did try and triple it up. He was staying in that dead zone on the snake side. That dead zone's hard to live in. You can't stay in that dead zone for long. You're 3 seconds and you got to get out of there.
Well,
he goes back
solid backfield lineup right now for Aftershock. They're rolling their guns.
See, and this is what I'm talking about. This is going to be one of those drawn-out points. They have all 4 backs. Aftershock has all 4 backs, and they're just going to sit here and they're going to cross it up.
Absolutely. This is actually at the point where I would start taking out more paint.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm going to grab an extra pod.
Well, I had to grab an extra pod in those games against Dynasty. I was shooting 4 pods. I had to bring a 5th pod out there.
And that's one of those things you got to keep in mind at all times. And again, it dictates how much paint I'm going to need, and it's a subtle difference, 4 or 5 pods, but actually that's not, if you think about it. It's a 20% increase in your pods.
Yeah.
Or in your level of paint. So it is important to keep those little things in mind. But when you're in a situation like this where it's like grind out your clock, you want to put your best grinders out there, get them in their spots, and hey, it's not like don't make moves. I'm not telling you not to make a move. Make the moves, but take what they give you. Don't force the issue.
Exactly. And see, like I said, this is one of those drawn out points. Even though Vicious has the snake, they're not really capitalizing on these moves. And they're just staying. They have the back center and they have the back right, and they're just camping out.
You know what I think it is I don't think Vicious has figured out what to do once they have the spots. That's the secondary game plans.
Exactly.
When you walk the field, you go out and you're okay, this is what we do on the break. This is what we do when we're in Snake 2. And this, and you have every single level of the game walked out. I don't think they really have that secondary those secondary plans in play.
And that comes with experience, like we were talking before. That's the experience with these Vicious guys. They know what to do on the break, but it's after the breakout. They haven't really figured it out yet.
Brian Bortle's putting in some work over here right now. This is good to see. Oh, Brian Bortle feasting over here. He feasted on the back guy, but now someone needs to tell him that there's no one left alive.
Yeah. And a lot of these teams are almost clueless out here. Like I was saying before, the coaching, taking the coaching on the Dorito side has really affected some of these teams.
But I love that.
And I like it too. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
I'm excited to see it because I've been asking everyone that comes up. I'm like, well, honestly, what do you think about it? And I think that everyone is really happy about that because think about it. Okay, dude, you're really good at this game.
Yeah.
You do really creative stuff out there on the field. How frustrated do you get when you dip, dive, cut low, make an awesome move, and it gets foiled because somebody's like, he's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead of torching that guy in his side and then spinning around and shooting his boy across the field.
Yeah.
That happens all the time, and we're going to see that less and less. Now, for you...
Especially on that Dorito side.
I was going to say, for you, it's still going to happen on the Snake side.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about that. The crowd's here. You're going to hear the crowd. A lot of times it's just a din, but at least you hear the roar of the crowd come up, and that's why if you're in your bunker up, then you start scanning for somebody to come get you. But on the Dorito side, I think that's going to free up. But I think I've also noticed is a lot of guys aren't getting the G count right.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're not getting the counts right. So, and that's a communication thing. I think that over the years, because you have had a lot of coaching, guys, 1, 2, 3, J2, screaming from the pits. You're so used to having that constant influx of G count information come in. Now they don't have that. So you're seeing a lot of guys like scanning, searching, looking at the crowd, hoping to get some sort of sign for the G count.
And I think with some of these teams, some of these slower teams, because X-Ball is a fast-paced game.
Yes.
And when you go out there, a lot of these guys don't go out there and talk right away.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the break, within the first 20 seconds, everybody's just shooting their guns. It's chaos, and then people will start to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But these teams that are talking right on the break and communicating with each other are the teams that are winning. And that's what happened against us, against Ironman. They communicated better than we did. We weren't talking at all.
Yes.
And then we finally figured it out against the Dynasty guys, and we capitalized on that. But that's why we lost that game, because a lot of these teams are just not communicating out there. And that's where the better players and the better teams are going to shine on this.
And I think it comes down to, and we'll talk about this in the next break between points, is of course 4-2. But it's getting those variables. It's getting what's going on out there and the information into your brain. All right, so doubled up in the back center, both teams. Now Vicious making a move up the center.
It looks
Score 4-2, and Vicious they have tons of time if they want to get back in this game right now.
They really do.
8 minutes left. There's a ton of time on the clock. Let's see if Brian Bortle can clock in and get some more work done on the Snake side of the field. He's got the Snake to himself. As looks like Chris Hooker getting shot out of that center.
And it looks like Chris Lasoya got bounced on the elbow. He's asking for a check, but I saw it bounce him.
Yeah, and he is hit.
Pulling.
Oh,
they gave him
a penalty. He did he shoot his gun?
No, he did not shoot his gun. He asked for a check. That
Wow.
was a very bad penalty. Very bad penalty. It was only a minor, but I mean, still, that should not have been called.
Well,
he asked for the check, did not shoot his gun.
Well, and no one got in the box either, so it's going to carry over.
Yep. No, it looked like someone did get in the box.
Okay, yeah, they did start, but I didn't see anyone in the box. But he really did, and you can see Chris is asking right now. He's like, look, man, I asked for a check. I didn't shoot my gun, and you call a penalty on me.
Yeah, that was a very bad call.
I wasn't actually looking at Chris. Were you looking directly at Chris?
I was looking at Chris. I saw Kyle. It's Borton, right?
Bortle. Brian Bortle.
Yeah, Brian Bortle. I saw him bounce Chris on the elbow.
Yeah, because I heard you say that.
Yeah, but it looked like he got hit in the face as well, like just skimmed his mask. And he asked for the check, didn't shoot his gun, and the ref from the back center came running over and, threw him a penalty. But
that's always frustrating as a player, especially for somebody like Chris.
He looks mad
who
too.
is
He's
so
running over here.
Notoriously known for getting penalties.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, man, I legitimately tried to not cheat and not play on. Oh, wow. And now they're calling a major penalty on Chris.
Wow.
Probably for maybe talking or something now. Or I'm not really exactly sure, because I wasn't looking over there, so I'm going to have to go with what you're saying. But I respect your opinion on that, and you've seen a lot of this now. So
that honestly, that was a very bad call. If anything, it should have been a minor, but it shouldn't have been a penalty at all. And a major, they're going to give him a major for that?
And that's a worse time for him to get a major penalty, too, because now they got to play 2 minutes without that extra body on the field. They got to go down, that they lose 20% of their force. And 4-3 with 7 minutes left, actually almost 8 minutes left on the clock. It's definitely Vicious's game if they want to take advantage of this power play.
This is Vicious's game to win it. And it looks like Chris Lasoya is limping pretty bad out there.
Yeah, he is limping. And he told me his knee was about 70%, and which tells me his knee is probably really about 50% maybe, because Chris is always trying to look on the bright side of things, at least when he's not playing on the field.
Yeah.
And mobility was such an element of his game that it's got to be really frustrating for him to have to worry about that.
And he seems to be playing more of like a stable kind of bunker and just shooting his gun rather than being mobile like he used to be. And, shooting people on the run.
Yeah. So Vicious, 5 players left alive.
Yeah, it looks like a 5-on-3.
5-on-3. Now, does Shock have a player in the back corner?
No, they don't. They have the Dorito, one in the back center, and that little laydown. Or they have 2 in the back center. Yeah, there's 2 in the back center, so it is a 5-on-4.
5-on-4. Templeton, Drew Templeton looks out into a ball. Minute left on that penalty.
And they're in Aftershock is in perfect position. To grind this penalty out. And if he makes it into the corner.
Digging for that back corner.
And he's clean. And we don't know for sure, but that was a good move getting out of that back center, especially to help that their.
That was a long dig too.
Yeah.
But no one was able to pick him up. And now able to get into the insert Dorito on the snake side of the field.
See, and Lawhead should have kept going. There's nobody even shooting at him, and he's still just camping out in here. He should already be in that 50 snake.
But that's the thing that as these guys on Aftershock are getting better need to kind of realize is that, like we said, take what they give you. You hear it's a paintball cliche, you hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, you're really good at that because you keep your eyes up at all times. And not a lot of guys do that. And I don't know why more guys don't try to work that element in your game. It's really hard to train because you're not looking at where you're going. It's such a natural instinct to look at where you're going.
And a lot of people run with their head down or run where they're gonna slide or run to where they're, where they're gonna go, and you need to always have your eyes open.
So Chris comes out of the penalty box and immediately gets shot trying to make it out to the back corner.
Well, they lose two guys on the Dorito side, and it looks like a third might have bounced him. Yeah, it did bounce him right off his hip.
Oh, and Vicious getting shot trying to get up to the 50-yard line.
That
Dorito.
was a good shot by the snake corner guy. it's a 3-on-3 now.
Yeah, 3-on-3.
And see, Lawhead's still camping out in this little Dorito.
And they lose.
They lose their snake corner.
Yeah,
guy,
they lose
now it's a 3-on-2.
Sosine out of that back corner.
See, if Lawhead would have gotten to the snake here, they would not have a snake 50 right now.
I know.
They're really Vicious is putting the pressure on Aftershock, and it seems like Aftershock is just kind of camping out.
Yeah, Aftershock's getting eaten up right now in their bunkers. So it's just one Aftershock player left alive in the back corner. He's trying to make moves up. But it's just 3-on-1 right now, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have ourselves a tie game.
There it is. 4-4.
Good game.
Yeah,
it's a good
great
game.
What if the people that have been coming up here been talking about, you know, the field change, how it's actually longer and wider? You know, I haven't really asked too many of the pros about what their opinion is, but you know, what do you think about that?
I think that I really love the no coaching change, and I haven't heard anyone not agree with that. I think everyone said that that's great.
Yeah.
They also, no one seems to mind the field being 20 feet longer, because I mean, you know, you've been playing this game since you were a child.
Yeah.
So you've played every possible type of field arrangement you can imagine.
Yeah.
So what's 20 more feet really?
No, that's
honestly?
true.
Though it is cutting down on the people getting shot off the break, which allows for more people to play out of their spots. So I think that with this particular field layout, it is leading to a slower game.
Yeah.
Which is definitely true. Now, who knows what that's going to happen if you were to have a more aggressive field layout, where it's easier to make spots off the break, or there's a couple more bunkers, or you know, maybe some more stuff in the middle of the field that's makeable. I don't know how that's going to affect. So as far as the field being lengthened, I do agree with that change. I don't think that's a bad change. And then with the field layouts not being released until a week before, I think that most people are in agreement that that's actually a good thing for the sport, because then even though teams like your team do have the ability, even though not as much as in the past, to play the field as many times as possible, but it was we had Tim came up here, Tim Montresor, and he was like, well, you know, if they released it, he's like, I'd rather have them release it like 3 weeks out or not release it at all, because if they release it 1 week before the event, he's like, I'm from Pittsburgh, and when the rainy season hits, it may rain that weekend, and the guys from Cali are going to be able to have a good weekend of practice, and we're not going to get a good weekend of practice in, so they will have an advantage. So I think that I do like the concept of not releasing the field ahead of time, because what I really want, I love when the pure paintball players are able to play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Exactly.
I love that, and I think that any good paintball player should like changes that will be conducive to that type of play. So I really like the direction things are going in. I think they're good tweaks overall. What do you think?
Oh, well, I was just going to talk about that. I actually like the field change a lot, how it's longer. For me personally, and I think I can speak for a lot of the Russian guys as well, we're pretty good at watching paint on the break.
Absolutely.
And I think with the 20 feet difference, I can actually see the paint coming. I can dodge paint. I can see, and I can, right before the paint comes, I know what I can do, where I can jump, what I can shoot to make those moves.
Because you can dodge paintballs.
Exactly. You can dodge paintballs. It's not impossible.
No, it's actually.
So with that 20-foot advantage, a lot of these better players are actually shining, because the methodical presence in this game, you're able to do a lot more with being able to see the paint, watch the paint, and being able to make those moves.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that goes to like less people are getting shot off the break, because, and I was talking to one of the Aftershock players about this, and we actually had I said the same exact thing. I was like, you know, when you got these guys that are running out looking at the streams of paint, you're going to be able to dodge those balls.
Exactly.
You know, the guns, they don't shoot that fast. It's not like 2004 when we were shooting 25 balls a second. You know, and shooting straight chain guns at each other.
Yeah, and with 12 and a half balls a second, in the field longer, the balls are going to be spread out a little more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So I think that it's all about letting the good players shine and having as pure of a game as paintball as you possibly can. And I think that in the early days of X-Ball, we kind of went more towards spectacle and less towards the pure paintball.
Right.
And I think that the game has slowly been inching back towards that way, and I'm really, honestly, incredibly happy about that.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. Yeah, I'm happy for it too. I like to see the better players shine instead of like, you know, mindless zombies just running to the snake on the break
Shooting
and
machine
being
gun,
able,
automatic machine guns at each other.
Exactly, be able
Yeah.
to shoot 3 guys.
I think it's more, honestly, to me, it's more entertaining being a fan of the sport.
Exactly.
And here we go. This is a crucial breakout with 4 minutes and 5 seconds left to play. It's all tied up at 4 apiece. And Brian Bortle getting shot, trying to get to the insert Dorito on the snake side. Oh, and look at this. Aftershock also losing a player. So no Aftershock players on the Dorito side of the field.
No, they have Dorito 1 over there.
Oh, there he goes. He was, I didn't see him because he was actually trying to make his move. So now he's in a really good spot at the 50-yard line, and I don't think it's Vicious that has any players on that side of the field.
Yeah, and now it's a 4-on-2, and Vicious only has the snake corner and back center.
And they got Monville here into snake 2. And he has a back guy, and this is kind of what I'd like to see the back guy wrap around. You know, the back guy is shooting towards the Dorito side, and he has the player on the Dorito side, so I understand maybe wanting to watch over him, but there's no one to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
So if he switches his gun over here, puts in the back corner, and Monville, if he was playing on the tape side, he wouldn't even need the help because the back player for Vicious isn't even looking down this tape.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with Aftershock a little bit is they're not getting close together. They're not making those shots. Their semi-attackers should be the guys that are making those shots because people are shooting at their front guys. But when you have a guy in the 50 Dorito and then you have a guy in the Dorito corner, like that's such a spread that he should be up into this little laydown over here, the Dorito 2, you know, helping his guy out.
Absolutely. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to play. And here comes Nick Sloviak making a big move up in the center. Yeah, because it's pretty much all he has to do is polish off Brock in the back center, and that's it.
5-4 goes to Aftershock.
So they should just concede the point. There you go. Okay, I was going to say concede the point and save the time. We're
2 minutes and 30 seconds left.
This is an interesting game, man. We got ourselves a 1-point match.
See, and this is what I was talking about before. Like, I don't even think this game's going to reach 7 points. I really don't. This is going to go to time just like all the other games. It might even go into overtime. You might see another game go into overtime.
Yeah.
So these games
I love
are
the
really
overtime
drawn
games.
out.
Yeah.
Did you see that Impact game this morning? That overtime game against, I think it was Iron Man. And whoever their Dorito player guy won a 2-on-1.
Yep.
Because there's no coaching on that side. He made a great move.
And I'm really interested to see how things are going to break down tomorrow as the better teams move on and we get the best and the brightest out there. I'm really kind of intrigued to see what people can do with that freedom over there.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, the creativity starts to come out when people realize that. I think it also gets ingrained in you after playing for years where you know, okay, I'm going to make this move, and it's almost like, and I saw you do it actually. I think it was you today where you play, or maybe it was Britnikoff, but you play the crowd. So you fake one way, and then the crowd's like snake side, and then you cut the other way, and then you might even have to cut again depending on how the bunker layouts work, but you don't have to do that on the Dorito side anymore. You only have to do maybe 1 or 2 cuts, you know, which is kind of cool to see. And that's that upper echelon of paintball that very few people can compete at that level, and that's why it's entertaining to watch guys at this caliber play.
Yeah.
But you know, and again, it goes to that. It goes to keeping your head up and getting all the variables, man. And that's why I think that, you know, like I said, back when you first started, you were a mindless, aggressive robot, and you kind of somehow, some way along the way, was that an actual conscious change, or did your game just evolve, or did you actually like, no, I need to start getting?
I think it came with experience, to be honest. I think it came, and everyone is starting to get it. And Monville just got shot in the hopper right on the break, and I wonder if they're going to pull a penalty on him. He's definitely hit right in his gun.
Oh, they left him in.
He's still in there. No one's even looking at him.
So both teams, decent breakout for both teams here.
And it looks like, is Vicious down? Or are they 5
I would love
up?
to see another sudden death overtime game.
Yeah. It looks.
And Vicious breaking out. Dorito
looks
side.
like a 5-on-4 right now. Aftershock. There it is. There's the penalty. There's the penalty.
Oh, minor penalty. You called that one.
They finally got him. See, and those hurt your team, especially with games like this. You can't get those penalties. And he knew he was shot. He looked at the ref, but I mean, I don't know what he was thinking there. You got to trust your teammates, especially in situations like this. So you got a 5-on-4 game right here.
And I agree. And it totally comes down to trusting your teammates, because when you know you're hit and you refuse to come off, with these refs, I don't know the exact percentage, but there's an incredibly high percent that you're going to get a penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
And you should know that. You should absolutely know that going in. And that's why I would get frustrated when guys would get penalties in those clutch situations and be like, come on, man, you didn't think that we were going to do it?
Yeah.
Just give us, come on. Now I'm sitting in the penalty box. Thanks.
Well, it looks like Montville's going to come out of this penalty box. There's 10 seconds left on this penalty box.
And and when you do not take advantage of the penalty, it's almost like he gets a second try.
And there he is, and he makes it out clean.
Tense, 25 seconds left on the clock here. Parker trying to close this game out, and he gets shot. I mean, I appreciate going aggressive. He ended up taking out the back corner, so it's just Montville left alive. He gets taken out. Is there a player left alive? He is. He's got 10 seconds left. This is going to be really close. 9,
and he's
7,
gonna make it.
6. He's going to make it.
There it goes.
Wow.
Woo! These games are good.
Yeah, these games are good, man. These like, you called it. You're like, we may even have another overtime game. Wow, this is a good game.
And even though Montville came out of that penalty box, there's no reason he should have gotten that penalty in the first place, because he knew he got hit, and he checked it. I don't know what he was thinking, if he didn't just walk off, or he thought he could just get away with playing on with that hit.
Yeah, I don't know either. And that's when you kind of just shrug your shoulders and sigh, And Montville's been around too. It's not like this is he's some boot kid first day in the league. Yeah, it's been around. So, but it happens to the best of them. Everyone does that occasionally.
Yeah, everyone gets penalties, and it's part of the game. It's gonna happen.
Wow, so tied up, 5 apiece, heading into overtime.
I don't know. I still have Aftershock.
I was just gonna add that.
I'm gonna stay with my first choice, and I'm gonna stay with Aftershock. I don't know if Fish just has the gumption for this one.
Gumption's always the word we use at this particular point in juncture. It's
you gotta love.
If you don't know what gumption means, look it up in the dictionary. And
Google
if you're a paintball player, then please try to read and understand what it means, because if you want to be good at this game, you're going to have to incorporate that element into it.
Yeah, you're going to have gumption to play pro level paintball.
Especially if you want to be really good.
Yeah.
All right. What would you do? What's your breakout here if you're Aftershock?
Honestly, Aftershock has been playing really well on that Dorito side, and if they want to win, they need to stay alive over there, because they're making those moves. They're getting to the 50 Dorito, but they're not capitalizing. They're getting to those bunkers, and they're getting shot.
Yep.
They're getting shot, and they're playing kind of stupid. If Aftershock wants to win, they need to keep making those moves they're making on the Dorito side, but they need to capitalize. They have to stay alive. And I think a lot of these players, a lot of these younger players are making these moves and getting to these spots and then just getting shot out, and you're like, okay, well, what are you doing out there then?
Yeah. And again, that is an experience thing, because you have that mentality. It's like, oh, I got in this awesome position, I need to do something with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, doing something with it sometimes means just sitting in there and kissing the ground for a couple seconds, letting everyone shoot at you, and then maybe somebody can either make a hopper, make a move off that.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to come out and gunfight right away. Now, sense the situation. If no one's shooting at your bunker, get a head check in there. And if okay, boom, I did my head check, no one's shooting at me, okay, then come out and then start, ripping a lane. But that doesn't mean blindly just gunfight immediately as soon as you jump in your spot, because everyone's going to be shooting at you at that particular point.
And one thing that I do that helps for me, and this a lot of people can pick this up. I can tell this to anybody, is when I get to a key bunker, I'll dive in there, and then I'll count to 5. I'll count to 5, see what's going on, because no matter what, when you get to these key bunkers, a lot of teams are like, oh, he's snake 50, or 50 Dorito. And then people turn their guns, they shoot at you. Count to 5, let them shoot at you, and then let your team catch up. And then make your moves.
Yep, and that's your job at that point, is to just chill for a beat, you know?
And that's what these bunkers are. You need to get to these bunkers so you draw attention. Let your semi-attackers make those shots, because they're going to clip hoppers, they're going to clip packs, they're going to clip these goggles. And that's what it is. You need to take the heat off of your back players and let those guys make the move. Let your back players catch up.
I used to love that. Like, I remember playing with you or any of the good front guys, you get in a spot, and if I hear, oh, J-Rab's in, you know, whatever bunker it was that was important, I know I'm gonna head check. I'm gonna feel my lane. I'm gonna head check, and then I'm gonna start rapping. Because I just know 2 or 3 guns just turn to shoot at you.
Exactly. And especially with X-Ball, there's only 5 guys. 2 people are gonna look as soon as they call that 50 Dorito or 50 Snake. There's gonna be 2 guns on you, no matter what. If there's 2 guns on the field, they're gonna be on you.
Yep.
So now, you need to count to 5 and stay alive.
I think that's a really good piece of advice.
That's the best option for your team, is to just stay alive in those situations. A lot of people want to make these spots and then just, you know, shoot everybody, be a superstar, but that's not what it's all about.
Now, I was going to say Vicious should probably put Drew Templeton back on this Snake side, because he's getting a lot more work done than Brian Bortle is at this point.
And
I'm pretty sure that's what they just did.
Break and makes it. Makes the Snake off the break. And I think what Lawhead needs to do is not go move back and find these shots. He needs to get down into their Snake. He gets into their Snake, he draws these guns, and that's what needs to happen. He's just sitting back trying to be a killer. Well, you know what she needs to do. He needs to kill people, but
he needs to do both.
He's sitting back here in the back.
Yeah, I totally agree. Oh, and Aftershock loses a player on that Dorito side, so I don't think they have. Aftershock has no one on that Dorito side of the field. There's not one player for Aftershock on that side of the field. Now, Vicious doesn't have a very big presence over there too, but they do have one player in that back corner. At this point, if Monville's gun is not on that back corner, he needs to do something back there to get himself up the field.
You mean Lawhead?
Yeah, Lawhead.
Lawhead, yeah. So it looks like a 4-on-4 right now, and
yeah, there he goes. Finally making that move on the Dorito side of the field up to the 30, insert Dorito.
And Cody Mikowski really needs to make a move out to that Dorito side. He needs to get out there.
Well, he's on his knees right now, so you see that he's not thinking about that right now. And he's searching. He's not shooting his gun. He doesn't really have anyone to shoot at necessarily right now. And now he's rolling his gun towards the Snake. I'm a big fan of thinking and shooting.
Yeah,
you need to be thinking and shooting at the same time. So just because you're thinking about your next move and you could be throwing some paintballs at someone to keep them from playing paintball, you want to do that, and that's what he should be doing out of that back bunker right now. Okay, big move now for Vicious on the Dorito side of the field. I mean, you're looking at the Snake on the screen, and then the wider shot, you're able to kind of see the breakdown. In the top center of your screen, you see Vicious in good position on the Dorito side.
And we're going to have a battle here in the Snake.
Yeah, we got a battle in the Snake right here.
Aftershock has the 50 Snake, and
it was Sloviak able to fill. So Monville getting shot out of that back corner. Oh, is he still alive? That's the second time Templeton's done that same move too, but he actually got shot this time.
And there it is, and now Aftershock
I think that was a smart move though. Oh wow, and Sloviak's struggling this game.
Oh, and Vicious gets a penalty. It's a 1-on-1.
Oh.
We have a 1-on-1 now. Oh no, Sloviak.
Sloviak got shot out of that back corner bunker. That's got to be frustrating for him. He has had a subpar game for his typical level of play.
And it looks like the refs didn't pull a guy on that penalty. They didn't pull anybody.
So it's just Parker left alive for Vicious.
No, there's 2 guys left. They have that Dorito 1 as well, but I mean, Vicious is gonna win this point and win the game in overtime.
Then this is definitely also,
that was chaos down at the end.
That was complete chaos, and this is not only an actual win on the board for Vicious, but I think a big moral victory for them too. We talked about that.
Exactly.
You know, these guys are both from the Midwest. They do not practice each other. These teams do not like each other really, and so this was definitely that Midwest brawler game. And Vicious is going to take the win 6-5.
And it was a great game. Is that Vicious's first win?
I don't know if it's their first win.
I think it might be.
No, they beat
Entourage. They beat Entourage last year.
And they knocked Dynasty out of the World Cup last year.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
they did. I do remember that now. And that was a big win for them last year.
Yeah, that was a big win. And this should be a big win for them, too. I mean, Aftershock took second place at the World Cup last year.
Yeah, exactly.
And they played phenomenal. So coming into this year, if you're looking at, at the stats and you're thinking, okay, well, who should be good this year? I mean, Aftershock should be good this year.
Well, also at the same time, Aftershock they're a brand new team. They have a few of their key players that they had, the past few years, but they picked up a lot of new guys. There's probably 5 new guys on that team that they didn't have last year because all of those guys went to Impact. They don't have their vets anymore. They don't have Tim. They don't have Ryan. So they lost those guys. So that is a new team that we're actually watching.
I would be very frustrated if I was Aftershock right now. So Aftershock losing a very, very frustrating game for them. Not playing the level of paintball that they have been expected of themselves.
Exactly.
Great game by Vicious to stay in a tough one, and they take the victory. So the end score 6-5. Vicious with the victory. And I'm Matty Marshall. Got Justin Rabikoff up here. We got more paintball action coming at you. Don't go anywhere.